public hearing that we
Okay,
want to wait.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Public, please hold comments until the select board chairman opens the agenda items for public comment. When addressing the board, state your full name, both in person and on Zoom. It is suggested that you enter your full name as your ID on Zoom. Okay, item 2, public hearing. Northeast Lobster Company LLC doing business as the Nor'easter, 10 Huntington Road, Northeast Harbor, request for special amusement permit.
Know if Adam on Zoom or
Move the public hearing be open.
second.
Well, it's actually not quite 6:30 yet, so okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, any public comment?
Hey, sorry. Hey, sorry, I was on mute there. This is Ronnie Musetti from Northeast Lobster.
Okay,
Hi.
Welcome, Ronnie, go ahead. Public hearing has been open for comments from the.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. We're just reapplying, so unless there's any issues
okay,
forward.
It appears that there are not.
Hearing no comments from the public or from Zoom, I would move that the public hearing regarding Northeast Nor'easter be closed.
Second.
all in favor?
All right,
Okay, minutes, approval of minutes from March 11, 2024 meeting,
move approval.
Second,
all in favor?
Oh, I have a,
Oh, you do,
yeah, I have a small correction on page 11. In the second paragraph, it says, Mr. Musson noted that if someone is renting for a time frame of less than 28 days, it is not a short-term rental. It should be more than 28 days.
Good catch.
okay,
That was the March 11th.
Yeah, March 11th and page 11. Yeah.
okay, good, thank you. Anyone else? All in favor?
Do we want to do that as amended?
I see, oh, move it as amended,
Approval of the minutes as
Yeah.
amended?
Sure,
Okay.
so I'll move it as amended.
Second,
all in favor? Approval of minutes from March 18, 2024.
I'll move them.
second,
All in favor? Appointments, recognitions, and resignations. Request appointment of Mitchell Burr as a paid on-call firefighter to the Mount Desert Fire Department effective April 2, 2024, at a starting pay of $18 an hour.
move appointment.
Second,
All in favor?
I have a question.
Yeah,
Is the $18 an hour effective as the employee is called?
That is the hourly rate. So when. if
When they are called, they receive that rate beginning when they're called.
if they get called out, we pay a minimum of 2 hours.
Yep,
So regardless if they get called.
Yep.
It's minimum 2 hours and it will take effect as soon as they reach the fire station. So if they're paged and they don't quite reach the fire station, we don't pay them. But if they get to the fire station
Okay.
and you stand down and anything after that, they get a minimum of 2 hours. If
correct.
it goes over 2 hours, then the regular hourly rate kicks in.
Thank you.
did you vote?
no,
All in favor?
all in favor?
Thank you.
Request appointment of Jaden Gordon as a part-time seasonal employee in the Building and Grounds Division at an hourly rate of $25 an hour effective June 17, 2024, ending on or before September 13, 2024.
Move appointment. Second,
All in favor? Request appointment of Michael Gibson as a part-time seasonal employee in the Waste Management Division at an hourly rate of $25 per hour effective May 6, 2024, ending on or before October 14, 2024.
Second,
All in favor? Consent agenda, Shellfish Committee minutes from June 1, 2023, Shellfish Committee minutes from January 11, 2024, Shellfish Committee minutes from February 15, 2024. Warrant Committee minutes from March 12, 2024. U.S. Small Business Administration disaster assistance to businesses and residents of Maine affected by severe storms and flooding.
Move acceptance of the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Unfinished business, completion of internet access to unserved properties.
Kathy, from the broadband committee, you want to explain that?
So, our committee has been working through the town consultant, Lippold from Pasco Bay Advisors, to try and get all properties in the town of Mount Desert connected to some kind of broadband service. And Spectrum is the one who's done most of the work in town. And there are about 47 remaining locations to be done. And for a while, we was going through negotiations with them, they offered something, and then they came in with a different offer. And the burden was on the town to pay for the whole thing. But the town doesn't have enough money to pay for the whole thing, we understood, so we went to the Hancock County Commissioners and asked for some of their ARPA funds that have been going towards broadband users, and they had agreed to that. So it would be a combination of county funds and town funds. The county funds would only be available if the town funds are going to be put up for this use. But then it would be, it'll take a while. We're still going through negotiations with a contract with Spectrum. And that means that all of the properties in the town of Mount Desert would have some kind of connection to services.
So have you looked into Fidium?
Yes, we have. And we've also been trying to have conversations with Consolidated Communications, which is sort of a parent company at Fidium. And we know that they are doing work in Bar Harbor. And we also know that they're going to where populations really are, so that there's enough people to make it worthwhile. And they're covering a lot of different parts of the state where they are getting money to do that. And so it could take, I think it was something like 3 million plus for Fidium service across the whole of Mount Desert Island. But they had never given us a breakdown by town. And knowing that they want to have more people, we've been in conversation with some folks in Bar Harbor and with Tremont. And Southwest Harbor, we have approached them through League of Town meetings, et cetera. And I said, it's not a high priority for them. They're just not getting the kinds of calls for problem service. So it's just not an issue for them. But we knew that if Consolidated wants to start, they'll probably want to do as much of the island as they can. And the maps that we have seen recently, what they're doing in Bar Harbor does kind of cross over some property lines, some boundary lines into the town of Mount Desert. So there's a little bit of spillover there. What they have said, actually, I stopped a person because I did see a Fidium fiber truck outside the pole outside of our building. I'm like, what are you doing? Are you installing fiber here? And he said, no, but, and he said, someday they're going to get here. It will just take some time. But then they will be paying for the infrastructure rather than the town paying for the infrastructure. One of the ways we might encourage that, to speed it along, is to get as many people in the town of Mount Desert to sign up at the Fidium Fiber for no cost and say, I'm interested in applying for your service, I want to do this.
Yeah.
Because I think if we can just show generally the level of interest in the town, they will take that on. And so I'm thinking that at the town meeting, it might be a good idea to have as people come into the gymnasium and table, talk about broadband and encourage people to sign up.
So is Spectrum's model still going to be coaxial from the street to the?
It's going to be what they're doing now. It's
Yeah,
a combination of coax and fiber here and there.
Yeah.
And ideally, you want to have great service, and their Spectrum is trying to improve their service, and it has been improving for people who have it with speed. Improved upload speeds, which is always the issue. But I think that we also want to make sure people, if possible, have a choice. And so having either Spectrum or Fidium, just sort of the market process might help all of the consumers to get a better price because they'll be competing against each other. So that would be the ideal situation.
But for now, this would serve the people who are not currently.
Yeah, so we are, the two goals were the gold standard of whatever you can get, which would be fiber, which we're not, I don't think we want to put in millions of dollars to do that. But universal coverage is the starting point, and so that we would achieve that through this arrangement.
Great work.
Good,
Yeah. Thank you, Derlin.
yeah, awesome.
And thanks for the town, because you guys allowed us to use this Casco Bay Advisors, and so they've been very helpful in dealing with all those kinds of things. And within the last year, we have seen lots of changes in the personnel and the business model, and that's part of the delay is the companies seem to be changing their operations themselves. And so it has been slow going to get responses on things.
Yeah.
Taken a while.
Great, well, thank you, Kathy. Awesome.
I wrote a little memo to you
Yes,
about the 3 actions required. You only have to do 2 actions tonight because the contract is still being reviewed by our legal counsel, so it may take a while for that. But if you did, it's this one here, you might want to make that motion to accept the funding for the broadband from the county offer there, if we want to make that one.
Okay,
I would move that we accept the funding for the Mount Desert broadband build out in the amount of $140,834 from the Hancock County ARPA funds.
second,
all in favor? And the second one as well.
The second one, yeah, because that's what we have to do to trigger the first one.
I would move that we appropriate $131,000 in ARPA funding from the GL account 1000-51902 for the broadband build out of Bi-Spectrum.
second,
All in favor?
And so
Very
once we get the contract, I'll bring that back.
right?
Thank you, that's good.
Yeah,
Thank you for the broadband, thank you for coming tonight, Kathy.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Chapter.
That's good.
All right, item B, consideration of amending the motion made at the January 16, 2024 Select Board meeting authorizing Chief Mike Bender to purchase a new 2024 GMC 3500 HD pickup truck in the amount of $56,320 to authorizing purchase of said pickup truck in the amount of $56,445.
I would move that we amend our previous motion and authorize Chief Bender to spend that extra $125.
second,
All in favor? New business, Northeast Harbor Lobster Company.
Mr. Chairman, before we go on to new business, we skipped over selectmen's reports.
Oh, I'm sorry, any selections report?
Yes, I do have one, and it's only something that I want to put on this board's radar. Coming up in the future, it has to do with, I'm sure you're all familiar with the New England Fishermen's Stewardship Association, NEFSA, which has been around now for a couple of years. They are a 501c6 organization that have spent the majority of their efforts in fundraising on defending against closure of different fishing grounds to sustain the lobster fishery here on this island. There is another organization offshoot of that, which is the New England Fishermen's Foundation, which is a 501c3, and this was brought to my attention by one of my constituents. They are just up and coming, and they will be responsible for moving sustainability of the fishery forward in the lobster industry. And doing a little bit of background research, there are 325 licensed commercial lobstermen on this island. 64 of them are licensed in the town of Mount Desert. Even though they may be ripe to be one of those third-party requests in coming years, it may behoove us in the future, near future, to look at releasing some of the select board's contingency funds to get them up and running. We did so with the Maine Lobstermen's Association Legal Defense Fund in order for them to defend against encroachment on the lobster industry and the shutting down of commercial properties. So I just want to put that on the radar of this board. I anticipate that the New England Fishermen's Foundation will be looking to put together a presentation for this board, as well as the other three towns. Bar Harbor has 65 licensed lobstermen. Southwest Harbor has 89, and Tremont has 107. And the idea, I guess, is to collectively put together all four of these towns into a coalition to fund this foundation to maintain the sustainability and the livelihood of lobstermen on this island as it has been for hundreds of years. So put that on your radar, anticipate them coming with a presentation. I will be looking more to meet with them to find out exactly what is down in the weeds for their funding needs. But if we can do what we did with the Maine Lobstermen's Association, and advise other towns, we're putting up X number of dollars from our contingency fund, and we would appreciate other towns matching. That seemed to work very well a couple of years ago. And that may get this organization off the ground and protect the sustainability of lobster fishing on this island as we go forward in years to come.
Rick, is this organization, are there members of the board who are on Mount Desert Island? Do you know?
There are.
Yeah.
Yes, and they're just starting out, they
Right.
just got their 501c3 status. So they are a fledgling organization. But they are looking, they found a need basically because the NEFSA itself was not capable of focusing on the sustainability aspect as much as they were focusing on how do we protect the fishery throughout New England. The New England Fishermen's Foundation is looking to maintain the viability of the fishery and the sustainability of the fishery going forward, so that lobstermen, I mean, here just in our town, 64 of them, that's their livelihood. They rely on that, and if there's something that this town can do to support them and assist them and keep that fishery alive, then I think it's incumbent upon us to take a serious look at how we go about doing that. So,
Thank you.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
thank you. Any more comments on that? Okay, great, thanks. Thanks, Rick. New business. Item A, Northeast Lobster Company LLC doing business as the Nor'eastern, 10 Huntington Road, Northeast Harbor, request for liquor license renewal and special amusement permit renewal.
Move approval of the request as it goes forward to the state of Maine.
Second.
All in favor? Public space special event application, wedding, Summonsby Park, October 19, 2024, 3 to 4 p.m. Paul Pottle.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor? That must be you.
No.
No? You just smiling. Okay.
Appreciate it. Not me.
It's nice to see somebody doing it in October.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, request for the town of Mount Desert support for research of PFAS contaminants in the northeastern Somme Sound area. Presentation by Dr. Jane Disney, MDI Biological Labs.
So that's actually me.
Oh,
That's awesome.
oh, okay,
Yeah, Jane is not here.
all right.
But Jane and I did go to the, oh, sorry.
State your name.
Right, yeah. Hi, Rich Hilliard, Bar Harbor, MDI Biological Laboratory. I work for Jane Disney, and Jane also works at the biological laboratory. Probably most of you know that.
Mhm.
And we went to the Shellfish Committee meeting because we wanted to alert them and get their support for looking into PFAS contamination. I can explain what that is if you would like an explanation. Associated with the high school, where the water drains down from the high school at the head of Somme Sound. And we had a great meeting with the Shellfish Committee, and we were seeking sort of, precisely a signature on a letter of approval for a grant we're submitting to fund the sample analysis because it's very expensive. And it was observed, I believe, that the Shellfish Committee didn't necessarily want to sign that letter, and that was, or didn't have the authority maybe to sign the letter. And that's fine, we don't need the letter, but we're just here to tell you guys that we're working with the Shellfish Committee on this project. And to answer any questions you might have.
I think it's great that you're
Yeah.
doing this, and I guess the question that comes in reading the material that was submitted is, what is it that you need from this board to go forward?
I don't think we have any specific needs. Just,
Other than our blessing?
yeah, exactly. And, you know, we want to be open about what we're doing. You know, we're not looking for a problem. We're hoping to find if there is a problem. We're not trying to sensationalize anything. We don't know what we're going to find there at the head of the sound. And that's about it.
Are you gonna sample just in the sound, or are you gonna sample in the watershed that leads up to it?
We have some of those samples. We're gonna do more sampling there, but we already have some samples there that are suggestive of, yeah, what you would, I mean, yeah, we can tell it's draining down.
So
We
it's
don't,
in,
yeah, go ahead.
it's in the northeast section of Sound Sound, which would be like over by Abel's and Butler's
That's where-
Boulevard. and-
Right, that's sort of where the sampling is. We don't have any samples from there.
I see.
We haven't looked there yet, but that's where we're proposing to look.
Yeah,
Could I add a little bit?
Of
Yeah.
course, yeah.
Or
I probably
clarity?
left out.
Claire, you had your-
Oh, you go ahead, because if you don't say what I was gonna say.
Okay, well, Rustin Taylor, the chair of the Shellfish Committee, and just some context for what Rich was talking about and Dr. Disney was, they had reached out through email about, like he had mentioned, a signature for supporting this research for a grant that they were seeking. If you are at all familiar with the topography and what's going on at the high school, with the possibility that there might be some of that, but we don't, some of the PFAS, in the head of the sound there, but we're not sure how far it's spread and where the Shellfish Committee, part of our goal is, water quality, working to enhance water quality for the public. I thought it was a great way for us to be able to contribute. And nothing, there was a specific request for that, they're kind of a little bit time sensitive, I think, of when they were gonna, but so we didn't feel comfortable to make any signatures, but we did make a motion to support their research. And then that time frame is come and gone when she was looking for that signature specifically in support of that. I don't think it's gonna make or break, and I hope not. But basically, Dr. Disney mentioned that if there was additional research grants proposals, if the Shellfish Committee would be able to sign a letter for an application of grant, without, I don't know if we'd have to come in front of you guys, so that might be one of the only specific requests, besides he was saying your blessing and to make you aware of just what we're doing. Go ahead, Rich.
If you have any questions on that, you know, let it know.
And I hope I didn't confuse you anymore, I just wanted
no, okay, that's fine.
Right, and I also wanted to say, if we found something, we would be interested in looking at more funding to try to do something about it.
and this would include sediment sampling, as I understand it, and also tissue sampling of maybe up to a dozen clams in that area, which it is seasonally, open, in the off season up there. But the resource, and as far as harvester interest is unfortunately, is very minimal. There's not much of a resource, but shellfish can be a great bioindicator, where they're a filter feeder, for this type of thing. So I just thought it was a great opportunity.
John?
Thanks.
Hand raised.
Okay, who do we have here? iPhone 13. Who's got their hand raised?
They're muted.
Muted?
That might just be the cursor.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
know.
so.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
So I just wanted to say with what they're doing, that maybe if you guys are willing to approve them at a future meeting, if they're asked to sign a letter of support or whatever,
Sure,
Sure.
that we just didn't feel that we should do that without bringing it to you first.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Would-
Appreciate that, thank you.
Is there some already specific guidance about in that event? Do they have the authority or how does that work? Is that a Berlin
They
question?
generally has always come to the board. Now, that's more.
That's what I thought. I just.
More
I know
process
the answer.
necessarily than statute, but I always think it's a good idea. The more you know, the better off we're all gonna be, I think.
Sometimes.
Can I, a quick question?
Yes, of course.
What's the half-life of PFAS in a clam under normal conditions?
We do have, I couldn't tell you, we do have a colleague, a new collaborator, hopefully on this grant at Bigelow, who's looking into stuff like that.
Okay,
But I would think it would stick in there pretty good. I mean, it sticks to like proteins, most preferably. Yeah, I'm gonna guess it's on the order of it's not a simple answer, because there's all different lengths, and
Yeah.
different head groups, so the shorter ones would probably get out quicker, the longer that tail of the molecule is, the longer they would stick in there.
Mhm.
Probably those would be months or years, I would guess.
Okay, good. So yeah, good bioindicator.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, let's see. Consider approval of the DOT signage on the intersection of routes 102 and 3 and Eagle Lake Road, Route 233, Somersville for Gulf of Maine.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
on item C, would it be necessary for us to, for the record, indicate our support for the Shellfish Committee and its collaboration with Dr. Disney's work with regard to PFAS investigations in the northeast section of Sound Sound? If so, I so move that we support that.
We can do that. That's fine.
I would second that support.
Okay, all in favor?
Thank you.
Okay, and you're gonna come back with, so we can,
Something specific. That's kind of
Give
a
you-
general support.
yeah,
I think she was trying to jump through the hoop of a timeframe.
Right.
I didn't dare to do that, so in the future, we definitely.
yeah, so come back, we'll give
If
you
and when,
official
yeah.
authorization.
you need, come on back.
Okay.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
Sounds good.
We're here.
Unless it's March, in which case we're every week.
okay, so item E, request, we're gonna table this.
Table that.
Yeah, we don't need to vote on table. do
No.
we? No, okay.
Did we vote on the Gulf of Maine signs or just motion and second?
We voted, I believe.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
motion
you,
and
sorry.
second, yes, and a vote.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't sure.
Okay, request permission to apply for Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, on behalf of the Mount Desert Housing Authority in the amount of $238,000 to support fire safety upgrades at the Maple Lane Apartments in Northeast Harbor.
Move to permit them to apply for that grant.
Second.
All in favor?
What about Otter Creek?
That was.
That's
tabled.
tabled.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
tabled.
Steve's sick.
Oh,
So we
I missed
postponed
it,
it.
sorry.
Okay, acceptance of the gift of a gift of $2,000 from Friends of Acadia to be used toward the purchase of a speed display sign for Jordan Pond Road.
It's all part of your process last year, starting to.
Move
set the controls
acceptance.
there. So, good.
What's
Move
the,
acceptance.
Second.
what's the total cost?
I don't know. Dave Kearns would have that information, but I've never priced one of those out.
This is Brian. It's about $4,600. I think it's
Oh, okay.
$4,650 roughly.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Brian.
Okay, good.
Did we,
We have a motion and second, we have not
Okay.
voted.
all in favor?
Good, thanks.
With thanks. Proposal of election day closures.
Move approval of the proposal,
Second.
given that the code enforcement town manager and such will be available for appointment, by appointment only.
Does this apply to local elections as well?
I hope so.
I get a motion in a second. All in favor?
Thank you very much.
Yep. Request approval to pay Norwood Delate and Sons $2,100 for the repair work out of the Seal Harbor Dock CIP Reserve 6410200-24600. The account has a balance of $83,709.92.
John just asked me to let you know this is the March storm. The ones in January when we received, the federal funding, so. Right, yeah.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor? Any other business?
A quick question about, there's a bunch of new signs that are all wrapped up on the way into town. Does anybody know what those are?
I haven't been on where, I didn't know.
Just coming in from Soamesville is,
On the way in.
yeah, they're, yeah.
Brian, no?
Right,
No.
know anything about signs?
They're all wrapped up in black plastic, not the traditional
Some of
blue
Eagle
tarp.
Lake Road, there's some of the Eagle Lake.
Okay. I don't know what's underneath them, but that's, anyway,
Do you know, Brian?
Sorry, I don't.
okay. That's
Orange road constructions. I saw orange trim on.
I thought I did too, but I didn't want to jump to, okay.
From Elkwood to Trenton, they've had those and they were for tree work.
Okay.
So they may be
Huh.
Maybe
distributing
they're
their
gonna
signs.
Well, they're
Fix
real,
those
I mean, they put them right in the ground. Okay, I driving in, I was like, huh, that's new.
Take the trees off those.
Sorry.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
18.
Who even knows?
Scary looking.
Okay, I'm scared. All right. Any other business?
Chairman Macaulay, I have, something I wanted to run by you, on the historical preservation project. I have several file boxes, they're like a file drawer worth in the, vault that need to be scanned and included in our preservation, and I'm hesitant to send them out. So what I was hoping to do, if I can find someone, that I could hire as an intern, maybe over the summer to do some scanning and indexing of these files. Just kind of don't want them to go out because I don't know how long they'd be out and if we need them to reference something. You know, they're like over 100 years old, or some of them are about 100 years old.
What was the process we used before for,
Well, before we had a lot of books that were already bound, and I sent those out and they would scan those. And then about the last 20 years, say given around 2000 and going forward,
right,
I had already digital like Word and PDF documents, so I wasn't too concerned about those. But these are especially from like 1950 and before I'm worried about sending them out and having us need to have access to them for some sort of research or a question that might come up and that we wouldn't have them in-house to reference.
and what happens to them after they're scanned?
They
And
go back in my vault. They are permanent records. The hard copy's permanent, the digital they're available for OCR recognition, if you know what that is. You can do a search on the characters.
right,
So it helps with research and locating them and printing certain pages if you need them without
rapid
having to break.
access.
But without having to break a spine and try to put something on a copier and whatever.
Some of our papers are at the library.
Some are.
In the archive.
I don't think these are because these are considered permanent documents and they need to be kept in a secure place.
Thank you.
Yeah, you don't have any concerns about quality control? Hiring an intern to do this?
I mean, they're gonna take the file into the copy room, I guess, and scan and then put it back in the folder. So I think, you know, I can work with them and make sure that they understand, you know, you have to keep the documents in the appropriate folder
Yeah.
and return it. So
Okay.
I'm hoping that a college student would be responsible enough to do that.
The Historical Society is doing a lot of scanning. You might want to check with Rainey and see if they have someone that's coming to them
That's a good idea.
or what the
Yeah.
turnaround time is, because maybe somebody could do, you know, a book on a weekend or something so that it's not out of the building during business hours, but perhaps available. But I would check with the Historical Society because they have, you know, they're masters of scanning.
Okay. Thank
Good
you.
idea, thanks.
Yeah.
And white gloves.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Any other business? All right, here we go into the juicy stuff. Treasurer's warrants, approval and signature town invoice AP 2460 and AP 2461 in the amount of $189,563.52.
Full approval and signature.
Second.
All in favor? Approval and signature. Payroll, state fees and payroll benefits. State fees and payroll benefits AP 2458 and AP 2459, the amount of PR 2423 in the amount of $288,748.61.
Signature.
Second.
All in favor? Acknowledgement, school invoices and school payroll, PR number 20 in the amount of $209,668.61.
Move acknowledgement.
Second.
All in favor? Good, motion to adjourn,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor? Thank you.
That was fast.
I didn't have one either. I went back.